Today on This Week in Startups, I'm going to eat a bunch of sushi. David Tisch is here, the managing director of TechStars New York City. Super fan Ryan is here from Kauai. This is the first time we've had a super fan in the actual studio. I might get shot live on television, or I'm going to get some great. What's the stuff they cook? What do they have in No More Pineapples? They have good coffee in Kauai. Kauai's got good coffee. Anyway, all that and more right now. This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is a very special episode of This Week in Startups. It's episode 143. This is a pre-tape. I had a friend in from New York, and I said, hey, let's get behind the camera. Let's do a little bit of This Week in Startups. So the only people who can actually tune into this show live are the producers. We give the producers a special secret URL. So for a pre-tape episode, they can tune in live. A lot of things going on. As I mentioned, we have a growing list of people who are now executive producers of the show. I told you this was going to happen. So many people want to be producers, we doubled the rates, but you can still get in for as little as $10 a month. It's sort of like 2 cappuccinos or something like that. Go to twistlist.co, and you'll see all the benefits you get. Now, I thought people would want to be part of the show in terms of getting their names in the credits at the end. It turns out getting your name at the title of the end is nice. You can show your family. Hey, maybe you'll wind up in the IMDb someday. But really, what's become so special is that the folks, and you saw this on the Bitcoin episode, the producers, we're not just giving people producer credits. They're actually, if they want to, engaging in production of the show. And we call them Producer John, Producer Steve, Producer Hunter, whatever. They wrote the show notes for the Bitcoin episode. They're inviting guests. They're working with Kieran on that, of course. We don't want everybody inviting everybody. But it's a load of fun on the TWiST list. We have a private email list, and we're taking it seriously. And so if you join as a producer in this executive producer level, associate producer, pull up my screen, guys, and supporter, you get to be on the inside. And that means you get access to the production meetings, and you get a title card, the discussion group, you get the TWiST Messenger bag, you're going to come to the $50 burger luncheon I'm going to host at the World Series of Poker, degenerates only. And anyway, if somebody signs up, we play the little sound, the magical sound. The magical sound. Ah, there it is. And then I say your name on the show. So I'm just going to interrupt the show at a random point, and the magical sound happens. And I say your name. So, hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, you don't have to keep playing the magical sound. Let me tell you about a great company I love, Trada. It's a crowdsourced pay-per-click marketplace. They make online advertising really easy. You may have heard of SEM, search engine marketing. I mean, you've heard of search engine marketing.
I have.
This is one of the 3 or 4 bona fide ways to build a company or product or service. One is SEO. Good luck with that after Panda. Another is social. Good luck with that. You're going to be shipping all your money over to Facebook to get likes. And then the other one is SEM. And in SEM, you buy text-based ads, either on Facebook, which their ad network works really well, actually, or you buy ads on Yahoo, Overture, you buy them on Bing, you buy them on... But if you get that funnel working, hey, that's magic. You've seen it in companies, right?
Yes.
But doing it inside your company requires you hire an SEM expert. How easy is it to get that kind of person to work for your company?
Probably like 3 tries at least.
Yeah, it's going to take forever. You're going to have to hire 3 people, fire 2. It's going to cost 100 Gs. It's hard. So what if you want to do SEM right now? Crowdsource it with Trada. Trada already has all these SEM experts, and they watch their performance. And they only get paid on performance. So if they find the keywords and the magic keywords that convert for you, they get a little piece of the action, and that sets all the incentive properly at driving things down. It's a brilliant idea. I met Neil, the CEO, when I was in Boulder for TechStars, and I just thought this was the greatest company ever. They have 1,000 paid search experts who will do all the keywords and the ad copy for you. They write the ads for your business. And if you're a paid search expert, go to Trada and learn how Trada can help you earn extra income. If you're one of those hard-to-find people who's making 100 dimes a year working at one of these dorky e-commerce companies and you want to do a little freelance, get a little cheddar on the side, huh? That's how you do it. You go to Trada, you sign up, you can use a pseudonym or something like that, All that matters is your results. Maybe you can't use a pseudonym. I think they need to know where to send the check. But I do think that they'll cover for you, so you won't know who's who. Anyway, here's a new promotion we came up with. From now until June 1st, if you sign up for Trada and spend a minimum of $3,000, your company will receive a free advertisement on This Week in Startups. What? Who approved that? That's ridiculous. If you spend $3,000, you're going to get a free ad on TWiST. I'm going to read your ad on TWiST. I mean, that's meta. So thank you to Trada, and go ahead and thank them. Now, David, you are the managing director of TechStars New York City. Previously, you worked at some startups, but you started doing angel investing when?
About 3 years ago.
About 3 years ago.
3.5 years.
And you got the bug.
I like it. It's good stuff.
You love it.
I do. It's once you get involved and watch a company actually take that angel investment and build. And so my first angel investment was Boxy. And watching Boxy grow, you see what you can create at that very early stage, and to see it really go past what you did. And all I did is write a small check, and these guys go out and build a great company. It's addicting.
And GroupMe, FlavorsMe, and the Shared Web, tons of great companies, and now you've launched TechStars in New York. And you just had the first, what do you call it, the first class, the first season?
I think class.
First class. Describe the TechStars program.
So TechStars is like a boot camp or a school for startups. We take applications like a college. In New York, just for the New York program, we had over 600 applicants.
Wow.
Took 11 companies into the program. We give them a small amount of money in return for a small amount of equity, and we work with them through...
What does that mean, small amount of money? 20 Gs?
About $18,000, $6,000 per founder.
$6,000 per founder. Enough to, they call it ramen.
Yeah, you're ideally going to live off that. In New York, you're probably going to live in a lot smaller area than you are in Boulder or Boston.
Sure.
But, live, feed yourself. But
for 3 months.
Exactly.
No problem. It's doable.
Ideally, or you figure out other ways to,
make
to
it
get
happen.
by.
Yeah.
Sleep in the office, etc.
People do that, I heard in Boulder.
We had some people sleep in the office probably more often than
you
they
thought they
should
would
have.
Wow.
Exactly.
Love it.
People moved back in with parents. There were plenty of ways to get
Real
by.
entrepreneurship.
Yes.
They make sacrifices. It's not all like champagne and caviar.
No.
You got to grind it out and eat some 99-cent ramen noodles.
We feed the entrepreneurs as much as we can through our program. But yeah, there's I would say
and
there's a lot of bootstrap.
How many companies did you accept?
So we took 11 out of the 600 that applied.
11 out of 600. Of the 600 that apply, how many would you say were angel ready? Because, I mean, you do get a lot of kooks, sending in business plans. So of those, what's the real number of actually viable entrepreneurs, founders?
I would say 300 out of the 600 were worth looking at.
Worth looking at.
Yes.
Now, you take those 300. You still got to get down to 11. So that's a lot of work.
So 300 worth looking at, probably
3% are going to get in. What's the next phase of getting from, okay, so you started with 600, now you're down halfway to 300. How do you get from 300, say, down to 50?
So from 300 to probably 100 is a natural cut. You can look and say they're not at the point in, they haven't started building a prototype, or there's no history in the team that says they're going to be able to execute, but there's something interesting in what they're proposing to do.
Okay, so you said prototype there. Mock-ups, wireframes, a working site, what?
We're looking for anything. I mean,
anything.
It all depends. So what we analyze in an applicant is team first, market second, and idea third, idea product third. And so when you're...
Why that order?
Because in this business, it's all about people. And so team first is really, as a group or as a couple people, what have you done in your past to indicate what you're saying you're going to do in your future? What complementary skill sets does this team have that indicate that they're going to gel? Our program for 3 months is really, really intense. And unless you have the right skill sets within the team to actually iterate and execute throughout the program, you're probably not going to succeed. So we surround all 11 companies with mentorship. And so on a day-by-day basis, you're meeting with between 3 and 5 seasoned entrepreneurs, investors, executives in the tech world, and you're getting feedback. If you're not able to build in any of that feedback in a really quick time period, you're going to go in the next day and hear the exact same thing.
Right.
And
so the ability to iterate
is huge.
It's critical.
Yep.
It's not about great ideas. It's really about great execution, and from what I'm hearing from you, great iteration.
Yeah. So on average, about 30 to 50% of the companies that get into our program will significantly change what they're doing during the program. as we call it, pivot.
A pivot.
A pivot.
We all know that well.
You have to put money in the curse jar for something.
I said something. What did I say?
You said pivot.
Pivot's not a curse.
Okay.
No. This is if you say, this is for 7 dirty words. And I think there's about $30 in here. Now you have a potty mouth. You put about $50 in here before the show started. It's only after the show starts. So, and just so you know, this is for the keg fund. How much does a keg cost these days? $1.50? Let me look up the price, because we get a keg here sometimes.
Okay.
I get the Rolling Rock keg. I drink one beer, I'm stoned. But I love that Rolling Rock, a crisp. I would do an ad for Rolling Rock on this. I don't like alcohol at all. But I'd love a crisp, ice-cold Rolling Rock in a pint glass. One. I drink one. It's just so delicious. Could somebody send this to Rolling Rock and let them know it's delicious?
So
I
can contribute to your Rolling Rock keg if I try hard enough.
You will. At some point during the show, I feel you will. So 11 companies. Technical founders, non-technical founders, because I mean, you hear about Y Combinator. Obviously, the program TechStars, inspired by Y Combinator, David Cohen says, or somewhat.
Yeah, I think
Boulder.
I think David saw what was going on at Y Combinator and saw that as a.
Let's do it in another city.
Yeah.
It was in Boston originally. Y Combinator. They fled Boston for the Valley, went where the money was. Smart move. But hey, that left a big gap in Boston, New York, Boulder, where Y Combinator won't go. And you guys are filling in that gap.
I think David saw an opportunity in Boulder where he lived to build a community. He was an angel investor and didn't like how that worked, and so he thought he could create something in his town that would allow him to build a community over the course of many years that would be self-fulfilling on some level. And so we're 4 years in Boulder at this point, and I think that's shown clear signs of that happening. And so we have a company from the first year in Boulder, 2 companies actually, who've sold, and now they've turned around and angel invested into future TechStars companies.
Awesome. So you get that virtual cycle going, just like Y Combinator has a virtuous cycle going. Bad blood between the two? I mean, you see on Hacker News, they sort of feel like, I mean, I've been to TechStars. People love it, but is there a little East Coast, West Coast going on here?
I've no direct indication from YC that there's any bad blood.
Right.
I know
Crips
Alexis.
versus Bloods, no?
Not yet. I'll tell you when there's violence starting. But
do people apply to both?
I think we have some overlap in terms of the applicants. I think location matters to people. And so us being in New York, in Boulder, in Boston, and Seattle, if people want to build their company there, that becomes a really critical factor in looking at a program like ours. And I think more than anything, we push mentorship, community, network, and exposure. And I think that that's a very different model than what YC does.
Also, I noticed in terms of physical space, at least in Boulder, people were in a physical space every day. Y Combinator, my understanding is they come once a week for dinner.
So in all 4 of our cities, we have offices. The companies are encouraged to work out of the office. They don't have to. So some
How
companies,
many do?
About 100%.
About somewhere between 100 and 100%?
Right.
Yeah, because who wouldn't take free office space?
And I think it's more missing an opportunity. So on a daily basis, we'll have mentors or people like you just show up to the office. That's
what I do. I just show up gangbusters. I'm like, hey, let's talk.
And if you're not there, you're never going to get that meeting with Jason. And that's a missed opportunity.
That's why I don't announce it. Because I don't want, if I announce I'm coming, you know what happens.
There's going to be a line around the block.
It does happen every time. So I just tell Brad, don't tell anybody. I'll just show up with a cup of coffee and then walk me around.
See who recognizes me and go from there.
Well, not even that. I mean, they're all going to recognize me. But it's nicer to just not be in there during the cattle call days because you, at the end of the program, have an investor day. I couldn't make it this year because of the death of my grandmother. Rest in peace. 91 great years on the planet. How many people came to the investor day? I heard it was hundreds.
So in New York, we threw our demo day at Webster Hall, which is a cool concert venue.
Yes, I've been in that venue. I have some Webster Hall stories. I have some stories from the bathroom at Webster Hall.
Fair, which is a shady bathroom.
Let me tell you something. The bathroom at Webster Hall in the 90s, that's where you want it to be. It was, because it's a unisex bathroom, at least it was then. And there were people in there, I don't know what sex they were. Because you got to remember, it was very androgynous during the 90s.
It was different than now.
Not for me. I was pretty clear which side I was on. But it was very androgynous during that time period.
So, yeah.
Speak to that a little bit. No,
yeah, exactly.
Let's keep moving.
Back in the 80s, right?
Back in the 80s. Did you go to clubs in the 80s? What was it? Cafe Society, Club Iguana, Odeon, Palladium.
This is pre the tunnel.
The tunnel, sure. But that was more 90s.
Yes.
Petergation. The tunnel was crazy.
Tunnel was.
You're a New York product. I mean.
I grew up in Westchester, so right outside the city.
Yeah. So you would sneak in on the weekends?
The bridge and tunnel crowd, as they call it.
Nobody understands the bridge and tunnel thing now. I try to explain to them. If you went to Manhattan, I grew up in Brooklyn, and they ask you for your license to get in, and typically it's fake ID, but if they saw you were from Brooklyn, they would hand it back to you, say no B&T.
No thanks.
No B&T.
Yep.
They literally would say that. Now, I go to Manhattan, I'm like, what's going on tonight, fellas? And they're like, we're going to Brooklyn.
Yes.
My timing, perfect.
So Webster Hall, we had 750 people show up for demo.
750. How many of those are bona fide angels?
So we separated the investors because there's securities being offered, so they were downstairs. There were 500 people downstairs, the majority of which were investors in technology.
That's amazing.
And we do look and make sure that the people who are signing up to demo day are actually there to...
Because you have SEC regulations. You can't be offering stock in companies. Not that you are. The companies are just saying, here's my product. But they do say, I'm raising X amount.
Right.
So it does add a little bit of, let's be sure. So you pre-qualify.
Pre-qualify all the people who are downstairs. And what's nice about Webster Hall is they have the balcony, and so there was community seats. And so about 250 people, including friends and family of the companies and people from the community.
Whereas at the Y Combinator, they do it at the offices. They have 5 demo days. And I've actually never been invited to one, which I think I have some Paul Graham beef. I don't know. Paul Graham's a little upset at me because I was asking people to vote for me on Hacker News. And everybody in the building at the time used the same IP address. So Paul Graham's emailing me, Jason. I'm just like, Paul, you're really worrying about this? He's like, answer this question very honestly. Are you gaming Hacker News? And I'm like, what do you mean gaming? Did I ask people to vote for a story? Yes. Isn't that why there's a vote button? No! There's a vote button because that you authentically like something. I'm like, really? Because I've got emails from half the people in Y Combinator and tweets asking for vote ups. Like, isn't that how everything works? Like, this Hacker News community is odd.
Not a part of the Hacker News community.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. How many of the 11 companies got funded in New York on demo day?
So no one has announced their round yet.
Okay. Well, what's your gut tell you? You're running it.
My gut tells me.
You know. So tell me.
9 to 10 of the companies will get funded.
Okay, so all but one maybe.
That's my hunch.
And the one that doesn't get funded, why? Not that we know which one it is, but what would be non-fundable about it? The product didn't come out well, bad market, bad entrepreneurs, bad presentation?
Probably early. So there's not enough proof points for an investor to dive on board, and they're probably working in a market that needs some traction to show a proof of concept.
So maybe it's a really compelling idea that's ahead of its time, actually.
My assumption is there's 2 companies that I just don't know where they're going to end up, and both of them are probably shooting bigger than any of the other companies.
Those are the ones I want to meet.
Absolutely. I think they're, the bigger the vision, the harder it is to show progress in a 3-month period of time. And so...
Yeah, I mean, some ideas, we have to be honest about this. Like, if you're trying to do something big and sweeping, you're not going to get it done inside of 3 months. I mean, if Zuckerberg shows Face Mesh, how would he be received on demo day?
I think more than anything, it's where you are at the beginning of the process and where you are at the end. And so if over that 3-month period of time, you can't show significant amount of progress in certain businesses, if you're selling to government or selling to military, selling to like higher education.
Pharmaceutical.
Right. To make progress.
It's a 9-month cycle.
Exactly.
And you don't even have a press kit.
Correct. And so to get, any traction in terms of business development or customers in 3 months is really hard. And so there are certain businesses that we don't believe make sense in TechStars, and we try to avoid taking them in because at the end of the day, the customers for TechStars are the entrepreneurs. And if we don't add enough value to their company... You're not going to be designing a chip. Probably not.
What's the equity that you guys get for your 12, 18 grand?
About 6% common stock.
Now wasn't it originally... You guys got preferred, but did you go to 6 to make it parity with the Y Combinator deal? It's always been that.
No, we've always been 6, is my understanding, common.
Is that deal not good enough for you guys? Because it feels to me like it should be 10% preferred. Why do I feel like you guys are giving up? You guys are providing more than you're getting.
I think at the end of the day, we want to align ourselves with the entrepreneur, and so
that's the common share.
Exactly, yeah. And so really, what we are is trying to be that extra founder. So throughout the life cycle of this company, we're going to take the same position as the founder on most stuff, and really be able to provide advice that is in line with the founder.
So how would the equity normally break up after an A round? If you're saying you're one of the founders, after an A round, the investor gets 30%, 15% for the company, and then 3 founders get 15% each, and then you get 5 or 6%?
We have that 6%, and so that will get diluted when stuff happens.
So if you have 11 companies, 6% of each, and you have one hit, you own 6% of something that becomes worth $50 million or $25 million, quite significant.
Yeah, I think there's an upside if we find a great company within TechStars financially, but it really is that secondary benefits of what we're doing. So you have companies like Jive Software and Simple Geo who didn't go through TechStars, but those 2 founders went through TechStars with a previous company. They both sold and are now building great companies, and they went back and tapped into the same investors who they met through the TechStars process.
So in a way, you may get, you may not get the equity that's commensurate with the effort on TechStars, but when they do their second company, hey, it's a long life, you are going to be able to have the ability to get into that early round, be first money in.
I think so. I think we're trying to find great entrepreneurs who we believe are going to have great careers. And so it's not, is this, and when we go back to team market idea, it really isn't, is this the best idea? Is this company going to make the most money immediately? But is this an entrepreneur that we want to stand behind for the rest of their career? And I think that really does impact our decision making at the end is, you know, an assumption that these guys are going to go off and do 2, 3, 4 companies, and to be involved in that career becomes more interesting than I think it is that immediate potential for this company.
Not too long ago, TechStars graduated a class, and we hear a report that everybody's been given $150,000 under their seats in free money from a Russian guy. Yuri from DST invested his own money and maybe some of Ron Conway's, or maybe I hear some of Goldman Sachs's. Nobody seems to know where the money came from. I'm not casting any aspersions, but we don't know if that's his personal money or whatever. But anyway, he's doing it with Ron Conway. And they say, guess what? Everybody gets $150,000 and the terms are ridiculous. What's your initial reaction?
I think it's awesome for those 44 entrepreneurs who are in that program to be able to have access to that money. I think that, you know, in reality, for the entrepreneurs, awesome. For the investors trying to get involved, it's a tricky situation. So that initial part of the round is now gone, and the valuation.
Essentially the lead.
Exactly.
Because it's going to be, what is a typical round coming out of one of these programs?
So the majority of TechStars companies are raising between $500K and probably $3 to $5 million. It really ranges. You know.
And that number has increased considerably. I mean, I was at TechStars Seattle, and it felt like it was all 250. Now it's double. And at Boulder, it was probably 150 to 300. We've seen this number double each year for 3 years.
So we had a couple companies that were going out of the gate looking for upwards of $5 million in this Series A, and we had other companies that felt like 350, 500 would get them, you know, a year out and really show the progress that they need to go out and raise a bigger round.
Huh, interesting. And so this DST Y Combinator deal, it seems like it's forever. Like they're going to do it for every round. Is that a healthy thing for the ecosystem, yes or no?
Again, for those entrepreneurs, it's awesome.
But we all know, I'm an entrepreneur, I agree. For
free money is good.
For entrepreneurs it is.
Yes.
For an angel investing ecosystem, yes or no, David? Is it good that somebody comes in and says, without looking at the companies, without doing any due diligence, and without having the time to nurture these companies or spend any time with them, I am just going to blindly give them $150. Do you think that this is the way the industry should work?
I think it's really hard for angel investors who are not part of that to then get involved in those companies because the valuation goes up and the access to those companies goes away a little bit.
So great for the entrepreneurs in the short term, but bad for them because it's going to scare away other good angels.
I think bad for the angels day one.
Yes.
I don't know what the long-term effects are. We're
going to find out.
6 months in, and I think in 5 years you can look back and...
If you had an extra $10 million round, would you do something like that? Or would you rather look at each company and then make a determination if they've achieved some amount of success and that you could help them as an angel and do some reasonable number that you could actually help?
I think the scariest thing to me is the idea of allowing companies that shouldn't go on to go on. And so that's probably hurting the overall ecosystem with dilution of talent. And so that's the biggest thing to me is companies that have tried to find a product market fit, have tried to get out there and launch what they're doing and realize it's not good, to have an extra, call it 6 to 9 months of runway, when instead what they would do in before this happened would be join a successful company
Right.
that might be coming out of that same group. You're actually probably hurting the great companies by keeping the ones who shouldn't go on with great talent trapped in them going on longer.
You're keeping people on life support who maybe shouldn't be. And that's an opportunity cost for those entrepreneurs themselves because they can either move on to work at a better company or they can start another company. It's bad for the ecosystem. Can't you just say it?
You said it. Why do I need to?
You need to say it as an angel and be honest, David. I mean, you don't think this is good for the ecosystem. You would never, let's be honest here. You have the money to invest in everyone blindly. You don't.
I'd like to get to know the people that I put money behind before I put money behind them. I think that's a
so
very good thing.
in fact, you could do it, you don't, and you believe proper angel investing is getting to know the founders. I think that's the problem I have with this.
So I think all angel investors and all investors in general will tell you that they invest in people.
Right.
And so if you're investing in a index or a class without understanding who the people are, you are betting on the person letting those people into this class. So in reality, you can back into saying you're betting on people again, but I think it's a stretch.
Here's something you can bet on. MailChimp. Like that segue? David's about to go for water. And you know what? We're going to get to super.
Classy.
It was pretty classy, huh? We're going to get to our superfan in just a moment. Are you doing okay over there, superfan? All right. You enjoying the program?
Yeah.
All right. This is camera work. Is somebody working on the track? Wow, there you go. So it's good to be in the studio, yes?
Yes.
You're not a serial killer, right?
No.
Okay.
Just a big fan.
Hey, but MailChimp. I use MailChimp. And if you would like to become a MailChimp customer, it's free. Wait a second. It's free for 2,000 subscribers and 12,000 emails a month? That sounds to me like the majority of mailing lists on the internet. These guys are so confident that they're going to grow your business that they'll let you use it for free for the first, X period of time. And that's how genius they are. And I can tell you, software as a service, it's a big category, is it not?
It is.
And do the best software services companies force you to sign a 2-year contract, or do they let you pay as you go?
This seems to be a great offer.
But do they let you pay as you go? When you see pay as you go, a software service, that's confidence, isn't it? They're confident they're going to keep you. You ever remember in the old days of IT, they make you sign a 2-year contract for anything?
And a penalty fee, etc.
Penalty. You know what? There's no contract with MailChimp. You just sign up, you pay for what you use. They're now integrated with Amazon's new SES, Simple Email Service, and they have the ability to handle transactional emails. Those are those important emails like, we just turned your account on, click here. The ones you want to know that went through. Guess what? Before I used MailChimp, half of Jason Nation, half of the Launch newsletter was winding up in spam folders. Then I get MailChimp, none. And then maybe 1 or 2 people have a problem because of their own spam filter nonsense, or I say some word I shouldn't. MailChimp gets on that and figures out the problem. What more could you ask for? Oh my God, MailChimp, it's perfect. Go ahead and use it, and go ahead and thank @MailChimp on your Twitter account. Okay, let's deal with the superfan. Now, superfan, stand up for a second here. You are a superfan of the show, yes?
Yes.
And you are coming from the island of Kauai in Hawaii.
Yes, correct.
Where I was married.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and my favorite place to go.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
And where do you live without giving your exact address on Kauai?
I live in Lihue in the East Coast.
The East Coast, very nice. I stay a little bit north of that in Hanalei Bay, correct?
Yes.
And Hanalei Bay, that's the nicest part of the island or not? Top 5?
Top 5. The whole island is nice. You can't
The whole
really go
island's
wrong.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's like one of the most awesome places to live.
How long have you lived there?
I was born and raised there.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. How has it changed over the last 30 years?
Right?
Well,
a lot, because when I was born, it was still a sugar economy.
The sugar plantation by the airport, by the hotel or it's west of that, right?
The whole island was a sugar plantation.
Wow.
And then in the 90s, they closed down all the mills and it switched to tourism.
And that was because shipping the sugar off the island was so expensive in getting it to the United States and processing it that it was just easier to take the sugar from South America?
Yeah, I think probably that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So
what happened to all those sugar plantations? They're just gone, right? They're just fields.
It was just fields for a while, and now there's some GMO companies coming in to try to grow things there.
What companies?
Some GMO companies like Monsanto and stuff like that.
Oh, those bastards.
Yeah.
I would
it's
never
getting
take
kind
a
of
man
bad.
from Monsanto. Those guys are bad news. Yeah. What do they want to grow there? Some fabricated, mutated
corn. A lot of corn. Yeah.
God, you're gonna go from the beautiful. Awesome. I drank Kauai coffee this morning. That's what I drink almost exclusively is Kauai coffee. I love that Kauai coffee. It's delicious. And used to have beautiful pineapples there as well. And macadamia nuts, perhaps. What a great island. I used to I would go on the VRBO. You ever go on the VRBO, Vacation Rentals by Owner?
I've not, but I know it.
It's awesome. And I would go on VRBO, and this is a big business there, correct? People rent their houses out. And boy, is that a great deal. I mean, it's like Airbnb, but it's a little more baller. I mean, there's a whole scale of it, but you could Airbnb, essentially, I mean, or VRBO, you know, like an extra bedroom or two, or if you're JCal style, I would actually rent Michael Crichton's house on Honolulu Bay. Did you know Michael Crichton had a house on Honolulu Bay?
No, not him specifically, but there's a lot of celebrities that own.
Who are the celebrities over there? I know that, who's that comedian guy who writes all the movies? Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller got a baller house.
The South Park guys stay there a lot.
Yeah, they're always there. Yep.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
They're all the
he's
time.
He's an island guy. Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys that are.
And you see them driving around, right?
You see, once in a while you see them. They're kind of not as much as before, I think.
Yeah. And now the island had a huge real estate boom and a bust.
Yes, correct.
And now the island's suffering a little bit.
And in addition to that, the California real estate bubble burst, and 90% of our visitors to Kauai is from California. So the economy's been pretty bad.
It's been rough. And there's a crystal meth problem on the Big Island, I heard.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? I mean, who's taking crystal meth? You live in a perfect place. You don't need to take crystal meth if you live in Hawaii. You need to just go surfing.
Yeah.
So many other better things to do.
Yeah, a lot of better things to do, like start companies, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is your favorite episode? Your favorite guest?
Favorite episode is probably the Penn State talk.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow, good answer.
And
that's when I just went on a rant because I just had lack of sleep and too much coffee. Telling these students that they needed to get their S together.
Yeah, and then the Gary Vaynerchuk ones and David Heinemeier Hansen. Basically, the ones that are kind of companies that are not based in, you know, being so remote on Kauai. It's kind of you try to look at stories that are kind of outside of the tech scene, I guess.
Yeah. Ones you wouldn't have heard of.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have gifts for me.
Yes.
Okay, let's see the gift. I love this. It's like people. He emailed me. He said, "Hey, I'm a fan. Can I come by the studio? You're here for a graduation." And I said, "Of course you can come by. You're a fan." Okay. What do we got here? Tell me what you got.
Couple gifts. This is a replica of a poi pounder, like an ancient Hawaiian poi pounder.
Oh wow.
And so it's made out of koa. My dad actually made this in his wood shop.
Oh, dude. I am. What do I pound with this?
The real ones were made out of stone, like lava rocks before, and they would make poi out of taro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it looked just like this, but it's made out of stone before. This is made out of wood.
Let me see that. Bring it over here.
Oh, here
All right.
This is the stand.
I'm gonna keep this. I wanted to have a collection of stuff on my desk because we've got this nice, beautiful desk shot. Wow. And your dad made this, so I could. I like that. This is good. I could be like, hear ye, hear ye.
Yeah.
And, oh, look, it's got a thing here. So, are you telling me people have these in their offices, like in Kauai? Is this like something you'd see in a house or something, or is it something more unique than that?
Yeah, like koa things it's a indigenous wood to Hawaii, so that's kind of like the big wood to come out of Hawaii.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this. Okay, what's next?
And this is some like chocolates from Kauai.
Oh. I've seen that before. Let me see that. Bring that over here.
I have a couple sessions.
What, you have one for David?
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding. That's so nice. Let me see.
These are like, basically these are like fancy Twix. They're like a macadamia nut.
I love the macadamia nut.
Fancy Twix sound great.
This is great. I'm loving this episode. Let's try this. Get in here, Dan. I have one of those. Let's see. Oh my God. That is good. You're right. It is like a Twix.
Yeah, it's like a fancy Twix. Basically, I just wanted to say thanks because, you know, what you guys are doing with This Week in Startups is basically like scaling mentorship for everybody that's not in the tech scenes or the areas that, so, you know, you look at your callers and things, they're coming from all over the world, and these are people, they're just like me, who have no access to anybody to look to, so just wanted to say thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that. Listen, I'm flattered. What you've done for me today has made me feel so good. Because you know what? You do this 2 or 3 times a week, and you wonder, who are these 100 people? And why are they downloading? And, you know, it's very touching to have you take the time out of your trip. I know you're here for a graduation. Your sister's graduating or something?
My sister's graduating, yeah.
Anyway, I do appreciate it, and I appreciate that you listen to the show. And I get as much out of it as you guys get out of it, in all honesty. I'm always learning from the show, and I would do the show if nobody was listening. I'd put blank tapes in and I'd stream it. So thank you so much. Did you have one of these?
Yes, I did.
Pretty tasty.
Great.
Pretty tasty.
Fancy
All
Twix are now my
so
thing.
just sit down, relax. We'll take some pictures after. I'm building a... Well, you know, Forbes did say that this is the best, that I'm the best television host on the web. Did you read that Forbes article?
Obviously.
I don't want to sidetrack the discussion.
I favorited it on every single service I could.
Good, but look, I mean, look at this. Is Jason Calacanis the best talk show host on TV today? Pull it up, Forbes. Come on. I mean, I don't want to sidetrack the discussion here of how amazing TechStars is, but I mean, when people are writing this in Forbes and they give a whole list here about, my God, how great the show is, you know what? It's a collaborative effort. I mean, it's just mostly me. But anyway, let's go back to TechStars and let's finish up this discussion of the blind investing of Yuri Milner and Ron Conway.
I thought we finished it.
We sort of did, but I want you to tell me if you think it's good for the ecosystem, yes or no, because you told me you wouldn't do it. I really want to get this answer ready. I would appreciate a yes/no answer. Is it good, yes or no? Would you like to see more people do it?
I think there's some amount of money that allows an entrepreneur to not focus on raising money at the early stage of their company. And so if you can provide that entrepreneur with enough money so that they can focus on their product for the first X amount of time of their company, that's a really good thing.
And that's what you do.
That's what TechStars does.
And that's what Y Combinator is. Here's a little bit of cash to get you going. But you agree that giving everybody blindly $150,000 is probably not a good idea.
I don't know what the sweet spot number is, but there's probably a number between 20 and 150 that allows a company to survive for X amount of time without having to go out and spend parts of the program going to raise money. And I think that that's a really good thing, again, for those entrepreneurs.
Okay, well said, actually. That's why I wanted to push you on a little bit, because everybody has mixed feelings on this, and it needs to be discussed in the open. Because actually now Ron Conway is getting a bad image. You saw Business Insider today wrote a slam job on him. And Ron Conway and I, listen, we bumped elbows a couple times. Both of us have sharp elbows. But he's a good guy who's doing good things for the ecosystem. But this, felt wrong. But it felt right. Because you feel happy for the entrepreneurs, but you feel like, wait a second, shouldn't you at least meet with them? And this was my advice to TechStar companies, to Y Combinator companies. Why would you take money from somebody you haven't met? If you're going to take money from somebody, remember, if the S hits the F, you're going to have a conversation with them. And this person might be throwing $150,000 around now, but what if they need a return? Now, you don't know how this person acts in a bad situation. You haven't developed any relationship with them. And what if you succeed and then you deciding if you want to sell or not sell, and this person shows up and starts giving you advice? You don't even know what they're going to be like. Do not accept dumb money. I'm not saying this is dumb money. Do not accept dumb money. Do not accept blind money. Anybody you take money from, you inherently have a very deep relationship with, and you need to get to know them. That's how I feel on it. Okay, as an angel investor, what is the best way for people to pitch you? What do you like to see in a pitch? What gets you excited?
I think the best blog post I've read in the past year is Mark Suster's comment about I invest in lines and not dots. And to me, that is indicative of whether it's TechStars, whether it's angel investing. As a company approaches you, it really is about building that line and not coming out and saying, hey, we're raising this amount of money, I need an answer by Friday. So instead, getting to know an entrepreneur early before they're looking to raise money and watching them grow in that process, to me, that's the best way to get involved. So we encourage all companies that apply to TechStars to apply early. And why we do that is we want to see in the application process how much progress they can make. If during the 2 months of the application process, they're sending us an update every week, every 2 weeks, saying, look at what we did last week, look at what we did over the past month.
Demonstrable growth.
Yes. And so as an angel investor, it's the same thing. You can approach me 3 months before you're looking to raise money, get to know me, and over that next 3 months, show progress. By the time you want to raise money, I've already asked you if I could fund your company. And I think that's really the best way, is to really create those points along the line that show that you're building a really consistent line going forward.
What are the things people shouldn't do? Because there's a fine line between being tenacious and being psychotic.
Yes.
Tell us, what is the most psychotic thing somebody's done?
Sending home-cooked goods to my house is probably not going to get...
And it happened?
Numerous times.
From the same person?
To my house, not to my office.
From the same person?
A couple different people.
Couple of different people sending cookies. And you're going to eat these cookies. You're not going to eat these cookies. They go right in the trash.
I did not eat those cookies.
They go right in the trash.
They went right in the trash. I just don't know where they're coming from. And so to eat...
Yes.
To eat home-baked...
And it's also weird.
a little bit weird, and my address isn't something that I put on the TechStars website.
Right.
So you did a lot of work to figure out how to reach me.
A little creepy.
A little bit.
So you don't want to come across as creepy, but you do want to come across as persistent and resilient. But so how do you do persistent without annoying?
I think you show persistence in building your company. And so by showing persistence on the company angle, you're going to show that you're a hustler. You're going to show that you're persistent. I'm going to hear your name coming up from multiple people. That's persistence, not multiple times asking me the same question or coming at me for
why haven't you responded? 4 emails. I always wonder why people do that. Like, if I didn't respond to the email and you've emailed 3 times, that is a signal that I'm not interested.
I try to respond to every email I get.
But you can't.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And if you get 3 or 4 that stack up in that process, or if you say a polite no and it comes back with a really aggressive response, those are a little bit creepy.
So better to say, hey, here's our idea. 2 or 3 weeks later, here's our idea plus 1. And you don't invest in business plans, you invest in betas.
I've invested in a deck before.
You have?
I've invested in a deck before. I've invested in a guy pitching me on his idea, but it was because he had spent 6 months telling me about the market he was interested in working on. And over that 6 months, he would call me or email me every month, let's say, and say, hey, here's what I've done for the past month. Here's where my head's leaning. And so after 6 months, he says, I got it. I figured out exactly what I want to do. Here's my idea. I'm going to raise a very small seed round to put this together, and I have a team ready to go. And at that point, you feel like, you know what? Over the past 6 months, you've built up credibility in the way you're thinking. And that's, to me, you're looking at people and how they're going to think and seeing how they analyze a market. And if you do that verbally rather than through product progress, and you've done something in your past that shows that you can build a team, build a product, that's a great way. But I think, as you said, it's here's my idea. 2 weeks later, here's my idea plus 1. 3 weeks later, here's my idea plus 10. At that point, you're really interested in what they're doing.
Can you say what company that was? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I can't.
You can, that's okay.
Soon, about 2 months.
And you invested in a deck.
I've invested in a deck before.
And I always tell people, like, please don't bother with a deck because it's annoying. But you don't mind a deck? I mean, everybody's different. It's okay that we don't have the same philosophy.
I think a deck that shows a breadth of your thinking is really interesting. So a deck with a lot of fluff or anything beyond 10, 12 slides, unless you're building something unbelievably complicated, is probably not.
So a 12-slide deck max, and it has to show a big vision or a thought process? Is that what you're saying?
I think it has to show a lot. It has to show, the market you're attacking, how you're going to bring your product to market. A team is really also an important part of that deck. Is what does your team look like? Where do they come from? What's the background? And then it's, a flexibility in the thinking. So here's what we're going to do, and here's what we're going to do if that doesn't work, or here's the stuff in this market that we think is interesting. We're going to take one of these 3 paths. Something along those lines, I think, is what you're looking for.
You keep bringing up flexibility. How important is it to be flexible as an entrepreneur?
I mean, look at a company like Buddy Media. I think that's a great example. They launched with Facebook dollars.
Right.
I forget what they were called. Floozies or...
No, that was flues.
Okay.
You're thinking about beans and flues.
Ace Bucks. That's what it was called.
Ace Bucks?
Yes. So Buddy Media launched as Ace Bucks. And over the course of being on the Facebook platform on day 1 with Ace Bucks, they were able to spot a much greater and more interesting opportunity. Mike Lazarus said the other day, Ace Bucks is the worst idea ever. But in launching Ace Bucks, he was on the Facebook platform day 1. And was able to spot a bigger opportunity, which today is Buddy Media. And so I think flexibility...
Are you an investor in this? Yeah.
No, not at all.
No. So here is the Ace Bucks, and it was basically money. It was Facebook coins before coins.
Yes.
And he got to California during the gold rush and realized, hey, no gold here, but I could sell pics.
I think Mike was on the Facebook platform before almost anybody else and was able to spot opportunities within the Facebook platform to say that brands need a product that will allow them to tap into this, growing platform in a way that they weren't able to do with, existing consultants. And so only because he was flexible and thinking, okay, Ace Bucks sucks, but there's an opportunity within this emerging platform, he was able to spot the Buddy Media opportunity.
And that's the pivot.
That's the pivot.
And that's what flexibility allows you to do. Why are some entrepreneurs not able to pivot? Because you see some people and you're like, that's a smart person. And they set the train on some tracks, and those tracks go to nowhere. and they keep going, and everybody sees it.
I think a marriage to almost a button level of an idea is what's dangerous. A marriage to a market or a marriage to an opportunity, not dangerous, where you're able to be...
Wait again, say that again. A marriage to...
your product and your idea down to a button level.
A button.
Like a button on the site, or a, you know,
a button level, got it.
A check mark.
A check mark.
Whatever it is.
You're in love. You're married to this execution.
Down such a detailed path, I think is either going to be the best product in the world, if you're right.
A la Facebook.
Or no chance.
Right.
And so there's no room in the middle if you're that obsessed down to that level of detail. Right. And you're probably going to struggle to build the best team you can because you need everybody to buy in to that really, really detailed execution of your idea. And you're probably not going to be able to give the people who you're working with...
It's like hitting a hole in one.
Exactly.
As opposed to saying, we're going to try to score under par.
Or we're going to try to get close to the green in 2 shots and then figure out what to do because it's a par 4 and hitting a birdie is a good thing.
Yeah, let's just get on the green. And then we'll have a discussion then. That's the flexibility that entrepreneurs need to have because, hey, the course is constantly changing. The conditions are changing.
I mean, if you look back, the Facebook platform didn't exist 5 years ago. Facebook existed, but not the platform to build on top of Facebook.
I mean, Facebook itself was hot or not. It was MySpace. It was terrible. But oh boy, was that platform a good addition.
Right, and if you had looked at that platform day one and tried to build a company on it as it existed in day one, whereas instead you were flexible to watch the development of this platform and see that Facebook made so many changes to how you can get distribution on Facebook. So if your company and your product was not in line with the new Facebook platform
rules
every step of the way, you're in trouble.
Oh, and that happened. They remember used to always be like, hey, Farmville activity is going to be on your main feed. And they were like, no more. You have to pay to get on the feed.
Exactly.
And they figured out a way to extract some money from those game developers.
And so I think as an entrepreneur, if you weren't flexible with the growth of the platform, you were probably left behind as the platform changed. And so I think consistently being flexible to the ecosystem around you is the key.
Interesting. So you will, what I'm hearing is, and this is probably counter to what a lot of young entrepreneurs think, it's not having the most brilliant idea. It's not having the most brilliant execution. It's having a great team in a great market committed to solving a big problem.
Yes. I would say that that's the crux. And even, whether it's TechStars or angel investing, that's the mindset that I look at every deal and every entrepreneur with is, are they smart enough? 5 years from now, you assume an angel investment is going to last 5 to 7 years, maybe more. So in 5 years, do we have an idea as to what the social distribution platform is? Probably not.
No. I mean, who could ever guess that the iPad would be such a breakaway hit? And most people thought the iPhone was going to fail.
And so if you back entrepreneurs who are able to change with the change in market conditions, that's the entrepreneur you want to get behind because they're going to realize that the iPad is right early and get on that because there's an opportunity there. And spotting new opportunities along the path of your building your business, that to me is what I'm looking for in someone today that in 5 years is going to still be that person.
Tell me, what are the markets you're looking at now that you say, I wish there was a team going after that market?
I mean, being in New York, you get to see really big industries that haven't been disrupted. The one that jumps out is retail. And so as you walk into a retail store offline and as you're shopping online and thinking about the online to offline transaction, I think there's a huge white space in transforming the retail experience. And so stuff around retail to me is fascinating.
Gilt Group.
Awesome.
Tearing it up. Groupon Living Social, obviously tearing it up. Is there any more room in that space, or is that space too crowded?
But think about when you walk into a store. That experience hasn't changed in your entire life.
So you're saying the store experience?
The store experience, or how often do you go to your favorite sushi restaurant? How well?
3 times a month.
How well do they know you? They know you by face.
Yeah, by face.
But do they know anything beyond that? Do they know that you have 1 trillion Twitter followers? Probably because you told them.
But Commerce Casino does.
But
and that was a great moment. I was in Commerce Casino and I tweeted, I'm at the 510 table. I hope I don't lose too much money, whatever. And a woman walks up and says, we're big fans, and hands me a Commerce shirt. That Commerce Casino is thinking big.
So Time Warner Cable, which is not my favorite company in the world.
Oh, God, they suck.
Right. But you know what?
Most hated company on the planet? Right behind AT&T.
I don't love cable companies, and
God, why do they? I mean, if you were the CEO of I'm just going to ask a rhetorical question here, but I would like to actually, if you have an answer to it, if you're the CEO of a company that's hated, and you're, let's say, making $10 million a year, and the company's making $1 billion a year, and you're hated, would you spend any amount of the massive juggernaut profits you have on being less hated?
I think you have to think into the future, and what I've seen in the past 5 years, probably more than ever, as social media has emerged, is that big companies need to have a personality, and they need to have some way of engaging their users, their customers, that's drastically different than in the 90s and in the 80s. And so I think you'll see big companies that are modernizing much better than others. And to me, that's the sign of a company that's going to continue to grow. And whether you're
so personality of the company matters now.
I think so.
Yeah, which means the CEO matters more than ever.
Whether it's a person specifically or whether it's a culture of the company. So
sure, Zappos.
Do you know JetBlue's CEO?
I knew it was David Nealman.
Okay, I have no
don't
idea,
know now.
but I love JetBlue. There's something about JetBlue.
I used to be my favorite, but now I know Wi-Fi.
Fair, but in 2012,
They are nice to you,
and it's coming in 2012. So, but JetBlue is a company that people feel an allegiance to.
I do actually. I used to fly exclusive JetBlue out of Long Beach because I just love that experience of not going through LAX. If they had Wi-Fi, I would drive back down to Long Beach.
So a company like JetBlue, without a face to it, is still a company that you can connect to as a person. And I think that's a personality of a company, is there's something about the culture that their customers want to be around regularly.
Superfan Ryan, you're listening to this conversation. You have any questions?
No,
You're just taking it in?
Yeah, I'm just taking it in.
All right, well, you're a super fan. You're allowed to get a question or two in here, so feel free. What's your biggest miss? I mean, God, angel investor, you met with a lot of people. Tell us the big ones. Come on now, be honest.
I had a big one.
Let's hear it.
So
You tell me yours, I'll tell you.
I used to play professional poker.
You were professional poker? I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true.
We played against each other once.
Yeah. You were a good
won.
player.
Yeah.
You did win?
I did.
What was
Boulder.
that? At Boulder, yeah. But I took all that money off that lawyer who
Yeah.
he
Well, that
was
was
on tilt.
embarrassing.
Wasn't that crazy? He went 3 times to the ATM?
He went to the ATM multiple times in about
tilted
an hour.
him. I took $1,500 off him.
Fair.
But he's a lawyer. Come on. You know, he's charging that money like $400 an hour. You know, he's just surfing porn. Anyway, go ahead.
So I was actually in law school, playing professional poker, and my friend who grew up in Chicago.
Online or in person?
Online and in person.
Oh, wow.
I played in a couple World Series. And
You cashed in the World Series?
no, I got close. The first time I ever played live in-person poker in a casino was the World Series of Poker.
You are a gangster.
No joke. I showed up in Vegas 2004 to play in the
Wow.
World
Moneymaker
Series.
year, right?
No, the Raymer year.
Raymer year.
The year after Moneymaker.
Year after Moneymaker.
I qualified on Poker
Were there
Stars.
8,000 people?
There were 8,000 people. I qualified on Poker Stars for $10.
Holy cow.
get
You satellited in for 10?
$10.
You beat 1,000 people?
It was a 2,000 person, 1,900 person tournament.
And they give out 1.9 seats.
Right, and the 0.9 seat sucks because that guy gets money and no seat.
Well, they might give him chips and then he's got to fill in the rest. But anyway, I get your point.
So that was the first time I played.
It's going to crush the World Series this year, by the way, because no Poker Stars, no full tilt satellites. It's going to go down from 6,000 people to 4.
Or less, and
Or
all
less.
pros. Exactly.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
More fun.
So my friend in Chicago grew up with a guy and put me on the phone with him, and he pitched me on this idea for Facebook poker. And
Mark Pincus.
Correct.
I passed on it too.
So
before I was an angel investor, he told me he was buying this. He was buying. You passed on it. Why'd you pass on it? Because you thought
Facebook poker was the dumbest idea I'd ever heard of.
Right, because it's fake chips.
Fake chips. Who's going to sit there?
That's exactly what I said. What an idiot.
Right.
Why are we so stupid?
Because I think we had played with real money and didn't understand the power of
our domain expertise.
Hurt us.
Hurt us in that situation.
Desperately.
What do we take from that?
So at age 26.
Do you know how much money we lost? If you put 100 into that,
I'm
if
aware.
you put 100,000 into it, it would be worth 1,000x.
Easily.
$10 million.
Easily. So I at age 26.
$100 million.
Yeah. At age 26, I passed on Zynga, and so you look back
Can you get us some razor blades in the studio, please? 2 razor blades, please.
So you look back and you say, like, can I just saved myself from the curse jar.
Did you say F?
I almost did.
Oh.
But can I
That'd be effed up.
screw up any worse than that? Probably not. So
No.
every pass
Your worst is behind you.
Right. So every pass I make, if they tell me you're going to regret this, not as much as I probably did Zynga. So it's okay.
Nobody can listen. There's a lot of people watching the program. They don't want to hear 2 annoying 40-year-old white guys talk about how they almost made $100 million when they're driving electric cars around. You have been an awesome, honest guest. I really do appreciate you coming on the program. You are an awesome super fan. And now, who's graduating? Your sister?
Yeah, my sister from USC.
Really? What is she doing? What's her career path?
She's gonna go to grad school in Hawaii after this. She wants to get into like planning.
What the hell does planning mean? Planning.
I don't know.
You can get a graduate degree in planning?
I guess.
Wow. I have a PhD
career.
in planning. Yes. But wait a second. Planning? Wait, did she go to Anderson? What school did she go to? What was her undergraduate degree in?
She went to USC for undergrad.
But what is the degree in?
Something like I can't even understand it because the degree, the name of the degree is so long. I can't even remember it. It's something.
Oh man, this is the problem with higher education. What a scam it is, isn't it? Where did you go? You went to some Harvard or something.
I went to the University of Pennsylvania. I was an American
Penn
history.
State.
Not Penn State.
No, University of
The other
Pennsylvania. Oh, is that a good school, or is that like for people who couldn't get into Penn State?
It was a good school.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it Ivy League?
It is an Ivy League school.
No, wait a second. You're Tisch. I see Tisch on the side of the buildings. Does that mean your family owns some buildings in New York?
Yes.
Okay. I never asked you that, but I assumed that was the case.
You know, my grandfather built, he was probably a great American entrepreneur story. He built a business, borrowed some money, bought a hotel, and built it into a Fortune 100 company.
Wow.
And so,
that was your grandpa?
That was my grandfather.
Wow.
And they've done, my family's been involved in health and arts and,
Yeah, there's like a Tisch building here or there.
A lot of education stuff.
Is that a lot of burden for you? Like people hear your name and like, oh, this is a rich kid?
I think it's inspirational. I think you look and you say, he set a bar pretty high. And for me, my goal is, and it's not to do better, but it's to reach the expectations that are probably set forth for me and that I set for myself. And so I probably work
do well
a lot harder and a lot hungrier than I would, and to try to reach that.
Well, that's what happens, right? If you have that opportunity, you either become a total F up, or you overcompensate and you want to do well, which is exactly what happens. See, everybody wants to be critical of the other guy. When I grew up in Brooklyn, my dad a bartender, my mom's a nurse. It went the same way. Either you're an overachiever or you're a drunk. It's like it's going to go either way. The same thing for people who grow up with some level of affluence.
Yeah, no, I think I was surrounded by really successful people growing up, and you look at them and you're
advantage.
like, I want to be that. And so you say, what does it take to do that? And you work incredibly hard to try to achieve that success.
Now, I keep hearing about Very. I don't want to leave that out. What's the story with Very? Because Joel Spolsky's in this now?
So Joel Spolsky was the lead mentor for Very, VERI.
I keep hearing about it. I don't know what it is. Tell me.
So it's a learning platform. And so these are two guys who wanted to change online education or education in America.
Very.com.
VERI.com.
What a great domain.
So that's part of the good story. So they came into our program with the name Socrated.
Oh, God, kill yourself.
Which is the single worst name of any company.
Socratic?
Socrated.
Socrated.
It worked. You can't even spell it. Oh. So it took about 8 weeks for Lee, the CEO, to tell us, hey guys, I actually own this domain for the past 8 years. It means truth in Latin, and it's 4 letters, and it's easy to spell. And we're like, and you haven't told us this because? So anyway.
Hey, that's mentorship.
Lee, we launched TechStars New York September 1st of last year. On September 1st of last year, I got an email in my mailbox saying the #1 reason why Socrated should be part of TechStars New York. And it said in the paragraph, for the next 75 days, parentheses, until the application process is over, I'm going to send you a reason why we should be in TechStars New York.
Oh.
So I wrote back, I go, cool, don't miss a day. Ha! If you're going to put that out there.
Yeah, you put it out there, don't miss a day.
Through. For 75 straight days, I got an email in my mailbox at the same time every day with a reason why Socrated should be part of TechStars New York. The first 29 days, I would send it to David Cohen or Nicole in Boulder and say, okay, this is getting creepy. When we talked about creepy versus not, it was a little creepy.
Yeah.
On day 30, which it was day 30, reason number 30, there was a reason that came in, and I go, oh my God, they're for real.
Yeah.
And it was, I was the CTO of Razorfish when I was 18 years old. I started 3 technology companies, and my co-founder Brian has a PhD or a master's degree in education. And you look and you're like, okay, this is for real.
Yo, I love it. And here it is on the screen. I don't know if I'm supposed to show this, but I just did.
No, they're good.
I know they put this lean startup thing, but it's basically like, hey, multiple choice questions, right? Doesn't seem so sophisticated, but.
So click find out why, and that's where they get
interesting. And that's the magic.
Yep.
See, I'm doing an education startup right now, and I looked at this and I was like, that's what we were thinking of building. That's when you know you got a great business. Did they close their round yet?
They're in the process of raising money.
Can I put 25 dimes in? I'll do it right here on the You can work it out.
You should definitely call them up and ask.
I should get to meet them?
You should probably meet them
I shouldn't just
first.
do a blind jury style, throw 25 dimes?
You can look at their Facebook profile and judge from there.
Is that all I need to do?
Maybe that's enough.
If you're in, I'm in. So, this is a great startup.
So they came into the program after 75 reasons why they got into the program. When they showed up, they really didn't have a clue as to what it was within the education space they were building. They were building a non-scalable content-based business. And about 3 weeks into the program, after having worked with...
Which is what I'm building.
Fair.
We're scaling it at 1,000 videos a week, to be fair.
So,
I think you mean hard to scale.
Hard to scale. So they...
Cost intensive.
Yes. People intensive, etc.
Yeah. So you want to have 100 people editing videos, it is expensive.
So 3 weeks into the program, they had spent enough time around mentors that they realized that what they were planning wasn't working. And they found this new approach, which was to... it's based upon their theory that for the first time in the history of the world, access to information is not the challenge in education. Okay. It's actually curation of that information. And so I think...
So the information's there, but it's not organized or curated properly. We keep hearing that word curated. You love that word.
It's also not available in the right chunks. And so to sit down and watch a 2-hour video online because you want to learn something.
Because it's MIT courseware, no.
Right.
I want the 3-minute experience.
And you might want 3 minutes and then 15 and then 2 hours. But
right. You might want to do 3 minutes times 3, then 3 minutes times 5.
And maybe you're on your iPad or maybe you're on your iPhone traveling and you want to learn something
We've
really
learned
quick.
this lesson too, yeah.
So that's their
Chunking.
thesis. Yes. And
it's correct.
And so through this multiple choice approach, and that's just the beginning of where they're headed.
Of course there'll be other things.
That is their way of giving you, so if you get an answer wrong, you get this 1-minute bite-sized chunk of a YouTube video or a blog post, and as you write your blog post, what they ask you to do is write one question about your blog post. And then it flows into the very system. Maybe it's in venture capital, maybe it's in learning, and it goes into this category.
So it's open platform.
Exactly.
It's interesting because, you have Hunch. They were sort of coming in on this. You have Mahalo. It's always interesting how there's a cluster of smart people trying to solve big problems. And education, post being in school, or even being in school, let's just call it not in a classroom education, not in a classroom education is wide open, isn't it?
I think people are always trying to learn new stuff.
I'm going to meet these guys. Can you set up a meeting?
I can.
Superfan Ryan, rate the episode, please.
Out of 10?
Out of 10, yes, please.
It's 10.
It's a 10. You loved it.
I loved it. That's fun.
All right. Ryan, listen to me. You are a super fan. I appreciate your super fandom. You are invited always to come and stop by.
Oh, thank you very much.
And if I'm ever speaking at an event, you can come with me and carry my bag, and I'll say you're like my PR guy, and we'll get you in for free.
Yes,
All
thank
right?
you.
So if you see me speaking at an event, you say, just email Kieran. You know how to get her.
Yeah.
And you say, Kieran, hey, I want to get in on this event.
All right,
and
sounds good.
Can Jason take me and then put a jacket on and tie?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you just come and be like, oh, I'll just tell my PR guy. Because that's what I can always do. I can always walk into an event when they have me speaking.
You're telling a startup guy to put on a jacket and tie?
Whatever.
Is that good advice?
It's good advice if you want to sneak into a $2,000 event and not pay for the price. Because I'll just say, look, this is my guy who's a suit. He's my PR guy. You know, like that's what
then they're going to expect he can pay $2,000.
No. If I'm the keynote, I don't pay. I can bring as many people as well. That's what I always roll gangster style.
I got it.
See, what I do is I'm always like,
you in the suits.
Well, I'm like, I want to get my sales guy into this super cool event. So then I just show up for the keynote with 2 people, and I'm like, yeah, just get them tickets. And they're just like, what? You brought people? And I'm like, yeah, no, I have to have my people with me.
They're not going to kick you out at that point. It's hard.
It's a little hard.
Yes, I agree.
So anyway, Ryan, we'll pull that scam, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right. Listen, you did a great job. I could talk to you for hours because you're smart. And you're honest, which is always good. I give you a 10 as well as a guest. And we may do a This Week in TechStars kind of thing.
That'd be awesome.
We've been talking about it. There's so many good TechStars companies.
And it's a great acronym.
This Week in TechStars.
TWiST.
It's the opposite of TWiST. TWiST. It's TWiST.
TWiST.
It's TWiST. I love it.
It's funny.
You're tuning into TWiST.
Yes.
All right, we'll produce that show. Sure, put it on the network. I approve. Where's my stamp? Here we go. I approve that message. What's it called again?
TWiST.
Poi Pounder.
Poi Pounder approved. That's going to be it. From now on, I'm going to Poi Pounder approve everything. So now, what would be good is if I had like a little, if I could get a little, what's that called? Ink. I get a little ink over here, and then I could Poi Pound. I do a Poi Pound. All right. What a great program. Thank you to @Trotta for making it possible. Thank you to @MailChimp. It is your Geary, it is your duty to go on Twitter right now and say thank you @Trotta and thank you @MailChimp for sponsoring amazing independent media like This Week in Startups, where you learn so much, where I learn so much, where we all learn so much together. If you would like to be on the secret, double secret email list with the other TWiST producers, if you would like to help produce the show and have a better life and more friends, you just go right over to twistlist.co and you will have more friends. It literally is becoming like, these are my friends I hang out with. I mean, Kieran, are they not like, and you're not on a microphone, but you go on the microphone, Kieran. You'll be on the first time producer Kieran's on the microphone. Is it not a lot of fun to work with the fans?
Oh, they're a ton of fun.
And how many emails are down the list?
There's a lot.
A dozen?
They're really into it.
They're actually, in all honesty, they're not taking up our time. They're actually providing value.
No, and they're really smart.
Yeah.
They have really good ideas.
Really good ideas.
Yep.
Good looking. And
well, we can't vouch for that because we haven't seen them yet.
I'm trying to sell this I'm trying to learn a little more salesmanship. So anyway, listen, if you're lonely, if you don't have a lot of friends, go to twistlist.co, and now you're going to have a bunch of friends in the industry. I'm dead serious. For $10 a month, you just got 40 friends. If you're an outsider loner, you got Asperger's, you got ADD, you got depression, twistlist.co will solve all of your problems in life. You don't have a girlfriend, you got depression, your mom didn't love you enough, you're fat, you're ugly, you're lonely, whatever your problem is, it is the ultimate tonic. It is like the fountain of youth for just having a better life. I just feel like selling today.
Yeah.
What can I sell for you? Give me another startup, I'll sell it. Give me any startup right now. Tell me the name and I'll do it. You want me to do a commercial for Very?
Sure.
If you've got knowledge and you're a teacher and you would like to spread that knowledge in an easy-to-use, cross-platform for your iPad, for your iPhone, for your desktop platform that's absolutely free, go to very.com and sign up today.
How do you spell
Very,
that?
V-E-R-I. V-E-R-I, as in very awesome, very.com. All of your educational needs under one roof. Go get them right now. Give me another one. I'll do one more. Give me another plug. Give me another one.
Shelby TV.
Shelby TV, what is it?
Shelby TV is like the easiest way to view videos that your friends are sharing on Twitter and Facebook. So it's a lean back, turn it on experience.
You ever get a lot of emails from your friends all over the place? Your email's full of them, your Twitter's full of them, but you're at home on your couch. Get Shelby TV and watch that in the lean back 6-foot experience. Stop squinting. Stop trying to dig up URLs. Get Shelby TV, shelby.tv. Solve all your needs. Have a better life. Be less depressed. Stop taking Prozac and get Shelby TV. The last part I ad-libbed, there's a little freestyle in there.
Okay.
It does solve depression, right?
It's nice. Yes,
There's a lot of depressed people out there.
Well, there's funny videos online.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You could see funny videos of your kids, 8-bit baby. That's what I've been doing now. I have the 8-bit filter on Path. You use Path at all?
I've used Path.
We have to share Paths, because if you share Paths with me, like that's my intimate group.
You think we're there?
I think we're getting close.
Okay.
I think we're getting close.
Maybe.
We had milkshakes with booze in them.
We did. So
That was pretty brutal.
I guess milkshakes
This guy
with...
takes me to a burger in New York. I'm trying to lose weight, okay? I'm desperately trying to drop 10 pounds. And you take me for this incredibly huge burger, and you're like, yeah, get the Kahlua shake.
It was good.
Wow.
Right.
Speaking of Hawaii, this is a 10,000 calorie milkshake with 3 shots of booze in it. I was flying. What's the name of that place?
BLT Burger. Well, you don't...
BLT Burger, Delish, in New York.
Yes.
Delish.
Thank you.
Delish with David Tisch. We'll see you all next time on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.